And now we hear more impressions of Italian life from the British comedian John Peter Sloane.
I always ask myself why the people of Milan go to the mountains. For me, mountains are just big, boring rocks. But many Italians love going up them, so there must be a reason. So when my friend Marco invited me to a weekend in the mountains, I went. The day went like this. Marco woke me up very early. I looked at my watch and saw that it was 5 o'clock in the morning. "It's 5 o'clock!" I shouted. I have never woken up at 5 o'clock in the morning in my life. "Come on," he said. "We have to go." I looked at Marco and saw, with total horror, that he was wearing a green Alpino hat with a feather in it. I put my big bag on my back, and when we opened the door, I could immediately feel a terrible cold wind on my face. It was also raining heavily. "Aren't you happy?" Marco smiled. "It's raining, just like in England." Now I knew that I was with a complete psychopath. "Okay," I said. "I need my umbrella. Just wait a moment." Marco was shocked. "Umbrella? You can't take an umbrella up in the mountain. Listen, put this on." Now this is very difficult to believe, but Marco was offering me another green Alpino hat with a feather in it. "You don't seriously think I'm going to put that on my head, do you?" I said. "Somebody might see me." "There's nobody outside at 5 in the morning," he said. "Of course there isn't," I said. "Nobody else is so stupid." When we were outside, we started walking. It was horrible. My shoes were useless, and my feet were cold and wet after 5 minutes. "Can we stop and rest?" I asked. Marco started shouting, "We've only been walking for 10 minutes. We have another 5 hours to walk." 5 hours? This was very bad news, of course, but I really wanted to see why people endured this nightmare. So I was patient, and I walked. Up and up we went, and all I could see was rock. I continued to ask myself why, oh why, people did this. I was wet, cold, and tired. After 2 hours, I said, "Please, Marco, can we go back?" "We're almost there," he said. "I want to show you something. Do you want to know why we're here? Well, soon you will see." After another 3 hours of incredible fatigue, we stopped. We were there. We had arrived at the place where I could finally see the reason for being there. Marco was looking down with a big smile on his face. Slowly, I looked down too, and I saw the magical reason for this torture. "Mushrooms!" I shouted. There were 3 mushrooms on the ground. That's all there was. We risked our lives in the rain, the cold, and the wind for 5 hours for mushrooms. Marco took one of the 3 mushrooms and ate it. I ate one too. "No!" Marco shouted. "That one was poisonous!" And he immediately started calling someone on his mobile phone. Oh my God! Was I going to die? I looked down the mountain and thought, well, at least I won't have to walk another 5 hours down the mountain in the rain. The helicopter arrived about 30 minutes later and took me to hospital. They pumped my stomach, and I was fine. But guess what time the nurse woke me for my injections? That's right, 5 o'clock in the morning.